Welcome to the Battlefield Show. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Ready to hop in and talk some Battlefield. And today, we're going to be talking about Season 3. After last week's longest episode ever, we have new details on Season 3. If you wanted a kind of like overview of our thoughts on the direction of the future of Battlefield, check out the last episode. It was really good deep dive and on all varieties of kind of like what you can maybe think about when you're expecting content after Season 5 or after Season 4. But yeah, so let's hop right into Season 3 conversations. We originally were going to record this podcast on Wednesday. And then that morning they announced the trailer was going to be on Thursday. And I was like, Sammy, I think we're going to have to move this forward.
Yeah, lucky that we did because
we got so much news.
Yeah, I know.
Like I didn't expect this quite as soon. Usually when they're like, oh yeah. It I don't know why, but it caught me off guard of like, this is a strange experience. It didn't seem like we would get this as soon as a week from last week.
Yeah, especially because of, like I said last week, because Warzone launched this week, I kind of thought like, oh, they'll probably give it a break this week and then like we'll hear the week after and then the update will be the week after that. But yeah, They don't seem to really care, which is... It's been received better than I thought, considering Warzone and everything. So yeah, bold move, but it seems to have paid off.
It's weird because we were talking about this before we recorded about how you played a crap ton of Warzone in one session, and we're like the next day like I kind of want to play some Battlefield.
Yeah, it's a weird. I never really thought the tides would turn this way. Like. I kind of in my head have thought, okay, once Warzone drops, like I feel like I'm probably going to lose a bit of interest in Battlefield. But like after watching the trailer and everything, I'm like itching to play. Like I actually nearly jumped on this morning. I was like, wouldn't mind playing some Warzone, but then I also I kind of really want to play a bit of Battlefield.
It's I also before we started recording, I was just like, this whole month of gaming is just like super packed with all of the games. God of War, Pokemon, Warzone, just those three games. One of those games will keep a man satisfied for months. And we just got them all three in one.
Yeah.
And now we have something else to look forward to in the month of November, which is the Season 3, which is going to like kick off on the 24th, which is or 22nd or 24th?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, 22nd. So 4 days from now. And I'm so pumped.
Yeah. I'm really keen. Like I think like I said, because of Modern Warfare and everything, I kind of haven't played Battlefield in a while, and I felt like I knew I wouldn't fully lose interest. I knew I'd come back and play it eventually, but I thought like right now it's kind of like it's Warzone time. But yeah, I'm already 2 days into the launch of Warzone and I'm having fun. It's not like the game sucks or something, but even then, I'm having fun with Warzone, and I'm still thinking like, oh, wouldn't mind playing a bit of Battlefield still.
Yeah, right there with you. Like I've been enjoying Warzone as well. I haven't hopped into it quite as much as you, for sure. I think I've played maybe like an hour and a half or so. Really enjoyed it, having a great time, but also like I think that's what the key difference here is. Like Battlefield and Call of Duty are so different. I mean, they are more similar than they have been in like the past, but it just shows that yes, while you may have a big Call of Duty release, you can still, and there is still a place for Battlefield, especially when Battlefield's doing well. And this is, I think there's been a lot of discussion on like each season they're doing better than the last, and I think this is going to carry it on because it definitely seems like this is going to be better than Season 2.
Yeah.
But I think also something that we need to note, Temporal, or as we like to refer to him, said this is going to be a Season 3 is going to last 14 weeks instead of 12 weeks, which it normally does. And it's going to start November 22nd and end February 28th.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why that. Like, I feel like there's a reason for that.
I wonder if it's the holiday break, because I think
Yeah, maybe.
If I remember correctly from like Battlefront days, the developers would take off like a whole month
Yeah,
for. They did this last year with the launch, right? They had like all this content. They're like, yeah, in December we're gonna take the whole month off.
yeah. I think like in I don't know if it's all of Europe or just Sweden. They have like a big Christmas sort of holiday, which is always interesting. The community doesn't seem to like it very much.
I mean, the whole country of Sweden like locks down for 3 months for midsummer, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
But we're also in 3.1, we're getting the manifest rework, which is scheduled for December, and update 3.2 breakaway will follow in January of next year. So not too much longer before we get, which is a scary thought, but not too much longer until we get the breakaway rework. And
yeah,
definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes for everything. What will be fascinating, because there's a whole month of February there that they'll have to get content for to keep people invested. So I'll be interested to see if we have any like limited time only modes or anything like that.
yeah. You'd think they're gonna have to do something else. Like there's gonna have to be some sort of mid-season event or something. That is a long period of time. If we're going by how they've done previous seasons, then yeah, 14 weeks with only really the map and the reworks. It's not that much. Like there's really not that much to.
Yeah.
That's the only issue really, in my opinion, now with the game. I think the game itself is in a really good spot. It's just we just kind of need a bit more content, and that's where they're going to struggle, unfortunately. So
I think this is where we saw kind of them introduce how they want to make content and keep a season going with season 2. And then I think season 3 is going to be like, this is what the season 4 is going to look like. Whatever they do here is probably going to be in season 4 in terms of how they spread out the map reworks, in terms of the expected content. Because we're getting a map, we're getting a vehicle, we're getting a weapon, and obviously we're getting a specialist. So I think that's a good amount of content. We're getting the map reworks, which is good. But I think overall, it's a pretty solid season.
yeah, I think especially like the actual launch of the season, it's always really good, and yeah, everything that we've seen so far, it looks really, really good. Like even the new weapons, I'm kind of excited about. Like it's a little bit more futuristic, which I don't generally like, but I think in this case, like it's not too futuristic that it's, I don't know, unbelievable. So
yeah, it's the right amount of advancement.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of makes sense with the story. I haven't read all the stuff that we're going to be going through today, but I'm going to assume it's like they're doing that, making it a bit more advanced because this weapons like factory that they're at, I'm assuming is creating these like more advanced weapons. So that must be the point of it, that it actually kind of ties into the story, which it makes sense. So I'm not against it at all, and it also looks kind of cool, like all just the way the weapons look and stuff. It looks how we kind of probably all expected this game to be when they said it was 2042.
I think this is what we expected when they first launched it, of kind of the weapons that they have.
Yeah.
But they didn't really get to that point with any of the weapons up to this point. Does that make, like,
most of them are really just like regular weapons, but like they just look a little bit different. That's pretty much the only thing.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely a place for that. I think we've obviously talked in the past about how we wanted weapons that were older as well. So I think now that we're getting more of a mature Battlefield 2042 experience, like they're getting into the groove of what kind of content and the direction and the story and all of that stuff, we're starting to see, okay, we have old content coming from Portal, which makes sense. Like we said, people are going to be grabbing whatever weapons they can find. And then also you're going to have the new weapons that have come out. So I think this is cool. We're getting the Rorsch MK4, which uses electromagnetic forces to launch projectiles at preposterous speeds, is what it says. And then a shotgun with tactical options. The dual-barreled semi-automatic NVK S22 offers great destructive power in a compact and nimble package.
Yeah, it all sounds very interesting. I'm very intrigued about the shotgun because I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of shotgun, so I hope it's not overpowered.
Dude, I've been rocking. I don't know which shotgun it is, but I have been rocking the shotgun in Battlefield recently. Whew. I don't know why I haven't played it yet. I've usually been like a long range guy. I'm like, I've gotten killed by this stupid shotgun so many times. I'm gonna try it myself, and I love it so much.
Yeah, they're definitely very, very powerful.
So we'll see. I like the idea of it being a double barrel shotgun. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it all looks from an aesthetic standpoint. Obviously, we can't tell because we haven't played it, but just the way they look and sort of feel, it looks like it's all going to be pretty fun to play. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really looking forward to it. And I want to talk about the map last. So let's talk about Zane, good old 24-year-old born in. We were joking about this. Born in 2018. It's crazy when you like map out the age of all of the characters. Like 2018. Yeah. Let's see. The first God of War came out in 2018.
Yeah, that makes it even weirder than what we just said before.
Zane is as old as the first God of War. What? So yeah, like it's really funny when you think about the actual specifics of the characters and specialists that we're playing in this game.
Yeah.
Just little babies. What do you think? What do you think about Rashid Zane?
He looks very fun to play. None of the specialists that they've added so far have really jumped out at me. I've played them all and they're both fun, but I never looked at them when they were launching and thought, oh, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
His playstyle, I'm not too much of like an explosive person, so his little grenade launcher thing, I don't generally run around with that, but they're also fun to use. It's not like I don't like them. It's more I hate explosive spam myself, so I don't like to try and do it to other people. But
yeah.
He looks really fun, and I also like his trait where it's like, I think it's when you get a kill, you like your health regenerates faster. That for me is like, that's a huge trait because I love games. Like, for example, in Warzone, there's actually a perk that you can have that does that exact thing. And it's so good because I do play really aggressively. So when you get in those situations where there's a couple of people in front of you and you take a bit of damage in the first gunfight, but you get the kill, you can regen a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sort of sets you up better for that next gunfight. So
yes,
I think that's going to be really fun. I think I may actually end up sort of, obviously see how it goes, but he may end up in one of my, most used slots for the specialist. So he looks really fun to me. Obviously we have to wait and see until we played, but on paper he looks really fun. What about you?
I really like it. Like you, I think he's gonna be usually there isn't a huge difference for the specialist for me, honestly. Like it doesn't. Yeah. It's not like a huge like, oh my gosh, this like I have to play as this guy. Because of the limited time like small scale conquest. So I was playing Crawford up until that point because usually whenever there's a new specialist, that's just who I default to. And then in the small scale conquest, everyone was playing Crawford. So I switched to Irish, and I have been really enjoying Irish. And I think he's going to do really well when he is a healer.
Yeah. In that little clip they showed where he puts down the deployable cover and then heals someone behind it, that actually now it starts to make a lot of sense. Like that's actually a really good feature. So.
And I've already been doing that too, so it's just going to be even better.
Yeah, exactly. I was a bit skeptical, but I think now it makes sense. And like we said in the last podcast, I think it just makes sense too for his character. Like he was that like leader in Battlefield 4. He's like he kind of felt like that support type character. So yeah, I'm very down for that change.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how Zane plays because like you said, the trait's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to that, as well as the airburst launcher looks pretty interesting. The semi-automatic, this is what they have on the website, is it's a close quarter weapon designed to take out or flush out enemy infantry behind cover. The The air burst projectile detonates mid-air and is a great tool against foes burrowed down and out of reach. Really going to be cool to see how that goes for the different play styles in these different areas as they add more cover, and as like you have Iris that has the deployable shields, and maybe this is going to be a really good counter to the shield as well. I think that'll be like
true.
Dozer's shield. I've been having all of a sudden it seems like there's more Dozers recently, and
yeah, I think because of that limited time mode where you had to play as other people kind of thing. I think in that, also because it was a close quarters type of mode.
yeah,
So he just really dominated, and I think now a lot of people actually have started playing as him, which I've noticed that too. Like, and I just can't stand riot shields in any game.
yeah.
So I just hate Dozer so much.
Same. And he's so effective too.
Yeah.
Like if you can play Dozer well, which I cannot play Dozer well.
That's why I hate them, because I suck with riot shields. I just can't. I swear, like, everyone can shoot me through mine.
Yeah.
And yet when I'm up against someone who has a riot shield, even if they're behind, like even if I'm behind them, I feel like I just cannot damage them. It's so annoying.
Yeah, like same here. All of a sudden, like it's one of those things where like there's this weapon that everyone's like, oh my gosh, this weapon's so powerful. I am never able to take advantage of it usually, and it's the same with riot shields. Like I always deploy them at the wrong time, so there's that issue. And then it just doesn't feel like I ever have any luck with them. Like they don't ever feel effective for me.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
I'm really excited to see how the playstyle goes for Zane. I think there's a lot there that we can. He's going to be like a really mild character. It seems like it's not going to be super over the top like we kind of thought specialists were going to be in the first place. Like when they're like, "Oh, specialists! Oh my gosh, it's going to change the game entirely." It ultimately didn't. Like all of the specialists that they introduced weren't quite as special as we maybe thought they were going to be, except for like Sundance is a really unique character. McKay, I think, has a lot of abilities and strengths there, but most of the other ones not quite what you really expect.
Yeah. It's definitely like we said, it's kind of weird that they're meant to be specialists and yet they're kind of the opposite. They don't actually seem to specialize in anything.
When everyone's special, no one will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, I think he looks pretty cool. Like I'm excited to see the play style. The gameplay trailer that they had really showed off the character quite well, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be fun. And then next up, what do you think about this map?
It looks really cool. I like the general vibe of it, like the color palette. I like that it's not as like sunny. Both of the other maps we've gotten a nice like picturesque maps, and this one's a bit more dreary, but it's not like grey and boring. It still looks nice. It's got like the green grass, but then contrasted against like overcast. It looks I don't know. It looks really nice. The square buildings that they keep putting up kind of over them a little bit.
I hate the buildings in this.
Yeah. I'm not sure why I think they're like, that's them trying to make them look modern, or like not modern, but futuristic. Yeah.
It looks like they had a map and they're like, let's put a box there.
It just looks a bit almost unfinished. It's the same with Orbital. That big tower, like it just kind of doesn't, it looks like it's lacking detail, but it's actually not. It's just cement. Like that's just how it actually looks. But it kind of looks like it's just not finished, and it's a bit of an eyesore. Like it just doesn't look nice. I don't know. This one looks a bit better because I think with it's got a little bit of destruction, like we've seen in the trailer, that like if a chopper crashes into it, it like sort of breaks off the panels. So
but I don't know if that's
game,
a reaction thing. I wonder if it's always going to be like that, or can you destroy it? Because I wasn't.
No, I think it will have like this. Well, it'll have destruction, but not like you can't change the shape of the building. It's just like I think the outer panels can just be broken. So it's kind of the same as like in some of the skyscrapers in the game, you can break the glass on them. That obviously the building doesn't change, but it just looks a bit like damaged.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just meant to be like that or it could just be one of those things that's in the trailer, but I feel like they wouldn't.
Because I didn't
Surely
see
do
any
that.
of the gameplay, so that's what makes me wonder. Because I
Yeah,
think it was just in the cinematic part of it. Um, and I didn't find anything that said it would be like an actual destruction type thing. Because I think that's what I really want is something like a reactionary destruction thing that's going to
yeah,
change how you play the game and everything like that. But yeah, it's yeah, they don't give a whole lot of details on it. It's just a close quarters focus map with 2 fully automated mega factories and an untamed terrain. That's like another thing with just like the look and feel of it. Like I like what you said where it's like it's overcast. It's very Sweden. Like everything looks super green and rich, but it's overcast. I think, but what just really angers me is like there are a lot of really cool pieces to this, but visually, like Stranded, I feel very similar with kind of like very similar in how my thoughts were around Stranded originally. It's probably going to play very well, but am I excited about how it looks? No, because it looks like, hey, we've got this terrain from Unreal Engine. Let's throw a box on it and a bunch of storage containers.
yeah. The actual building is the one part that I don't like, but in terms of I guess, countryside, I think that looks really nice. So I think like I feel like I'm going to end up playing more outside than in the building
Hmm.
because it looks funner to play. So I don't know. Also, I think the inside of the building looks nice enough that because obviously once you're in there, it's not as boring. I guess not as
Yeah.
bland. So yeah, I felt the same about Stranded. I was kind of like, I don't know if I liked it, and then once I played it, I really do like the way that looks. So I'm gonna wait and see because I think I jumped the gun on Stranded last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a fun time. I think they've finally showed that they understand how Battlefield 2042 needs to play and how the map design is gonna feel that. I think they did. They finally figured that out.
Yeah,
But I still think they have some things to learn with the direction of the maps that they choose. It's like you had the option of Sweden. You guys are very familiar with it. DICE is in Sweden. And you choose somewhere that doesn't even look, I mean, a mega factory. Why is it over here? Because it would make more sense to be in a more defensible area if this is like creating weapons and parts for the army, to be in more of a defensible area to where it's not like jutting out like a sore thumb.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's the one thing in terms of the like atmosphere kind of thing that I don't like about it is that yeah, it'd be cool to have some more like more of a military feel to it in terms
Yeah.
of outside of it where yeah maybe it's got some defenses set up so that if this happens like if it gets invaded it can be kind of stopped. It does look
Mm-hmm.
like it's very almost looks a bit like Monte Grappa where it's just like literally just a hillside, which
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, that's one of my favorite maps ever, but it would have been cool to have like some just a bunch of sandbags and some like anti-air guns and stuff like that that kind of gives you that that's the constant issue with this game is that it doesn't give you the feeling that we're part of a war.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should be sort of set up ready to defend in
Yeah.
the lore of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's close. I think they've done a good job of adding those defensible areas. They have a lot of coverage, which is good. I think, I mean, when they first said it, they were like, this is going to be the smallest map in 2042, and it looks actually larger than Stranded in terms
Yeah,
of
that's what I think.
it. Like visually, it looks maybe like if you did the math around the actual like boundaries and everything, it ends up being smaller, but it looks bigger. Like it's just longer.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely. Maybe it's to do with the boat in the middle of Stranded that kind of makes that look smaller because it
Mhm.
takes up. You can't.
Well, it's
really
it's
see
a
the other
square
side of it.
layout too,
Yeah,
and this is very.
Yeah.
This looks made for, oh, what's the other mode? You got conquest, and then there's
breakthrough.
Yeah, breakthrough. This looks designed for breakthrough. Like when they saw it, I'm like, I wonder how this is actually gonna. It feels like each team's gonna have the closest point to them, and you're gonna be fighting over the middle two, because you have to go through entire points to get to the next one. It's not like, oh, you can go around the side to it. It's very much you have the whole map that you go through. It's very linear.
Yeah, exactly.
What was crazy was like exposure, visually really cool and interesting, and I think they had a lot of things that they were playing around with: color, contrast, verticality. And then you go to like Stranded, and Stranded I think is it benefits from having that central point that everyone's guiding towards. So it gives you that close quarters combat, but also at the same time making vehicles affected in certain areas, but not effective in others. Because I never feel like it's unfair when I'm killed by a vehicle on Stranded.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing I'm worried about with this map a bit, is like, I think the boat in the middle of Stranded can allow you, not only obviously if you're inside of it, but just like it creates that bit of a barrier between the other side, so there's no tanks shooting you from the other side of the map and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about that on this map, where they've said it's infantry focused, but like I can see myself getting absolutely beamed from a tank, like the other side of the map.
Which is a perfect segue to, we got another tank. Welcome to Battlefield Tank Warfare. I like that this has two modes, so you have to make a decision of like, am I sitting here and am I moving? It's like a droideka.
Yeah, true.
It looks fascinating. I'm not ever going to play it because I don't like tanks. Every time I play a tank, it's just like, I feel like I'd be more effective not in this tank. Like if one of my teammates is at the spawn and we're moving over to that, like, I'll jump in. I may try it a little bit, but I never feel like, yeah, I'm totally gonna go. Anytime I die, I'm gonna go back into a tank. Like I never get into that situation.
Yeah, I'm the same. I kind of always give them a go when they're new, but I just don't. Yeah, I just do not care about the vehicles, to be honest.
How do you think it's gonna play on this?
Like I said, I'm a bit worried in terms of like, I just hope I don't get beamed across the map all the time. But I don't know, it looks cool. I will say the tank looks like sick. I actually love it. I'm just not sure how it's going to play because we haven't really seen enough of it. We've seen that it's like, they've kind of said it's very high power, like it has that like lockdown mode, and then it just seems like you can deal a lot of damage with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes in terms of whether it's overpowered, whether it's like super super strong and can like demolish other tanks and stuff like that, or whether it's just a regular tank, because it's kind of hard to tell because of the way that it's a bit more futuristic. It's like a railgun tank.
Yeah,
makes it sound really powerful, but then for balancing reasons, you'd think it would literally just be no different than another tank. It's just the skin essentially. So yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about it. We're just gonna have to wait and see, I guess. But I have my slight concerns. I'll say that.
Yeah, I wonder like how do I want to phrase this? I wonder what this is gonna be like. How is it gonna feel when you face a tank? Because it seems like they have accurate amounts of like coverage. I think there's a lot of good cover in this map. I think they did a really good job of that. I just think there's like an imbalance between the power of a tank and the average player, because you can play Battlefield against tanks quite well, and they give you the ability to do that. But I never feel like as a normal loadout as that I want to play, that I'm ever effective against tanks. So if I throw my one grenade at it, it's not going to do anything. If I shoot it, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. The only thing I ever feel that I can take out tanks is the C5. Just playing
Mm-hmm.
Sundance with the C5 because you
Yeah.
can essentially one-hit kill them. But that's also
That's because of
pretty
Sundance
tough.
too.
Yeah,
Like
you
Sundance
gotta
has like a
get really
specialty in that.
close. Yeah, that's like the only time. And luckily for me, I'm a Sundance main, so that's like I'm able to do that a lot. But not everyone's just going to be always playing as Sundance. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of times in this game where you'll die to a tank and you aren't equipped, and you just go like, "There's actually just nothing I could have done then." If you die as Sundance with C5, you kind of go, it just killed me. Like they were just better than me. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times you just die and you're like, well, I literally could not have done anything there. So that's the part. That's the main part about vehicles I just can't stand is like there's just a lot of times that you genuinely cannot do a thing, and yet vice versa. To them, that's pretty rare. There's not very many times in a tank that you can't do anything against a player. Like it's pretty rare that you just get annihilated as a tank and go, damn, I couldn't have done anything there, because it's just always literally just drive away, just stay way out in the open. You cannot possibly die to them. So yeah, tanks are always going to annoy me, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be changing. We'll see how it goes in terms of how players end up with this tank. I don't think. I mean, it's hard to have like a unique area of like, yeah, this is a tank, but does it feel different enough than this other tank?
Yeah.
That's what I wonder about. Like, does it, and if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, there's so many differences between these tanks. I want to know. I want to hear your thoughts on that and why, what are the differences? What are some of that stuff? Cause I don't feel it when I'm playing as a tank or going up against them. I mean, there's obviously differences. Otherwise they wouldn't keep on adding different ones. When you think about season 3, what are you most excited to play?
I think the map is the part. Like, the map's always going to be the part
that's what makes it feel
really
most different.
Me. Yeah, I'm very keen to try Zane. I think he could potentially end up like as my main specialist. So
yeah,
I'm keen to give him a try. And the new guns also look really cool. Even the shotgun. Like, I'm not a shotgun user, but that also does look really cool. So kind of all of it. It's a pretty boring answer, to be completely honest. This is like the first season where I've been keen for everything, because
that's a really good point.
In like season 2, for example, I was really keen on the map, but I didn't really care that much for Crawford. The guns were pretty standard, so I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't wait to try this new gun. This one, it's kind of the opposite. I'm actually, every single thing they're adding, I'm like really equally keen for it. Other than, the map obviously always just gets priority, but I'm finally keen for everything they're adding at the same time, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I'm most excited for the map. Visual things aside, like, ultimately it comes down to, does it play well and is it fun? And they've had a good track record of the maps so far. So I think a breakaway, original maps aside, I should say. Stranded, I loved. I still love and enjoy so much of the gameplay of that. Even like on the fun, like even the outskirts stuff where people never really go. Once you claim the middle two and you're going back and forth, there's a lot of people that will just go into the side stuff. And those end up being really fun, interesting firefights that are so different. And
exactly.
Exposure, also really fun. I loved the verticality with that map and how, like, basically, if you're Sundance, you can just go anywhere at any time and do anything. It's really fun to have something like that made specifically for almost specifically for like a specialist and their specialties. And while I think with Stranded, I was like, I'm really excited that they said it's close quarters combat. It sounds great. Visually, it doesn't seem all that cool. I've ended up really, really enjoying it. And I think hopefully Spearhead is the same way, where we have something that may not visually be as interesting as we would have hoped for or anything like that. I would love to see if it does actually have destruction.
That's something I'm keen to see as well.
I hope so. I'm not convinced that it will have it, but I hope so. And I'm really we didn't even talk about this, but the inside of those boxes look really fun.
Yeah, that whole area looks really, really like just chaotic in there. It's hard to actually tell how it's laid out, so I'm really not sure like how it's going to play, but it looks like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited, and I think what's cool is the ventilation shafts that you can kind of go through and get behind enemy lines and do a lot of that fun stuff. I think is going to be really interesting once people learn the advantages to like the different quirks to the map. I think it's going to be really cool to see what ends up happening to that.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, dude, I'm really hopeful for the future of Battlefield. Like,
yeah, I'm the same.
I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's nice to, like I said earlier, I felt myself with Warzone on the way and Battlefield seemingly, this is before we heard about like the, content beyond season 4. I was feeling myself a little bit like, okay, like this game's kind of coming to an end and kind of losing a little bit of interest in it. Whereas now, like I've got that spark back again. I think this season, I really do think this will be the best season. I just think everything is set to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason it won't be equal to the last seasons, but also the weapons and Zane and everything. It looks to me a little bit better than the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then if essentially that will mean that each season is building on the last. When Exposure dropped and season 1 dropped, I was like, I don't think the next map's going to be this good. I think this is the best map in the game. And
yeah.
Like, we're going to go back. The next one will just be like the base map. So this is a one-shot, a one-hit wonder, And then season 2 came out and we were like, oh man, I think Stranded's better. And so going by that, not to say that just means this one's going to be better, but even if it's like not quite as good as those, but it's still nearly on the same level, I think that combined with Zane looking really fun, the new weapons, even the new tank, like I think all of it, the season seemed a lot more, this one seems way more themed than the last ones. It's like, This is like the futuristic pack, like this is the futuristic DLC. Kind of like, I think it was Final Stand in Battlefield 4 that had like the hover tank and stuff. This feels a bit like that.
Yeah.
We're getting a themed season. Not that the others, I know that they try to put a theme in there, but I never felt it. I didn't see a tie between getting Liz and Exposure. It just didn't, there was no link there. Zane having like a futuristic gadget on a futuristic map with other futuristic guns, that feels all the same. And even the way he looks like a futuristic soldier. So yeah, this just feels like how a season should feel leading into it. And I'm really keen for it. I think it's going to be, I don't see any reason it won't be good. Like, unless something drastically wrong happens, it just feels like this is going to be, if not better than the rest, at least just like equal to, which I'd be more than happy with. If this is 80% as good as the other seasons, I think I'm still happy with that. Maybe not the amount of content, because they definitely, I would prefer more, but in terms of what we've gotten, if this is 80% as good as those, I think I'm happy with that. Like, they've really done very well with the first 2 seasons. So yeah, hopefully we just keep getting more.
As long as the new maps continue being the best of Battlefield, I think as long as it's like, yes, this is better than the original like base maps, I think we're in a good direction. Because the base maps were so bad, and even with the changes, they don't quite live up to the hype of the new maps. They don't have the quite the same flow or the enjoyment, at least for my play styles, as the others, as the new maps do. So I think there's hope. They've done it 2 times. Can they do it 3 times? I think so. The only concern I have is that linearity of the map. I think there is, I don't know. I think a breakthrough is going to be good. I think it's going to be very satisfying breakthrough. Honestly, I think that's where, if you're going to play this map, you should play it in breakthrough. Like, I think that's the only option. But we'll see in terms of like Conquest. I wonder how enjoyable it'll be in Conquest.
Yeah, the thing that's great is that hopefully, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Game Pass kicks
Yes,
in
it
at the
does.
start of this season, doesn't it? So I hope that, because I just haven't been able to play. I haven't played Breakthrough in months. Like, it's not viable with small populations. And I really, really hope that with Game Pass, like, I hope this game blows up, man. I hope it does, because if I can play all these new maps on Breakthrough with all the way that the game feels now, I think I'll be like addicted to this game again, because I love Conquest, but it just doesn't do it for me anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like, I don't know. I don't feel myself playing the objective anymore in Conquest, whereas in Breakthrough, like, I'll send it straight on a objective, and that's all I care about. I don't care if I die. I just want to win the game. In Conquest, I don't know what it is. I'm just running around getting kills. Like, I just don't care anymore about the objective. And so if they can, if this can do well and get back to being able to play Breakthrough, which generally mean like on Aussie servers, if you can play Breakthrough, it means the game's healthy. That's pretty much how I explain it. Because right now, and for the pretty much since launch, like, I haven't. It's so like barren that it's just, you can only play Conquest. Like, even like Rush, it's pretty hard. Even though you need 32 players instead of 64 or 128.
Mm-hmm.
Even that's hard to find. It's really just the fact that Conquest is the first button on the menu.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally, if Breakthrough was there, then Breakthrough would be the number one mode. It's just because all the casual players, like, they just see the top mode and they go, yep, that's the one I'll play.
Mm-hmm.
So either hopefully it picks up, or please, DICE, if you're listening, just put Breakthrough as the first mode. Put it in alphabetical order, I say, and then let that take care of the rest.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I hardly play Breakthrough because of that. I forget.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I just switch it, I'm gonna have a really good time playing this other mode.
Yeah, that's how it is in every game. That's why Team Deathmatch in Call of Duty is always the most populated. It's not because it's the best. In fact, it's easily the most boring. It's just the first mode. It's just what everyone plays because it's just there. You just click play and it's Team Deathmatch. So I wish that they would change that, or at least that's the annoying thing about, like, I actually love the new UI on that home screen, but how it was in the past, when they made Breakthrough like a 24/7 Breakthrough mode, that was the first button. So then that was played more. Whereas now, because Breakthrough is there all the time, I think they don't feel the need to like push Breakthrough because it's always there, but still no one plays it. So that's the only downside to that change, is that they can't, if they put in a 24/7 Spearhead Breakthrough server, I still don't think anyone will play it because it's the second button instead of the first. It sounds so dumb when you say it,
Yeah.
but that's how it is. Like,
that's how it goes. I mean, that's why they have those decisions.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they always put like the friendliest modes as the first mode, because that's where most casual players, like, they just jump on and they don't know the modes. They don't. It often sounds like when you're talking about casuals, you're saying like people are dumb. That's just, people don't care. It's not because they're dumb. They see the mode, they go, yeah, I just want to play Battlefield, and they just click the button. Like, that's as simple as it is. With us, obviously, anyone who's listening to the podcast, we are not casuals. Like, anyone who pays close attention to the game, even if you're not good, that doesn't mean you can be a hardcore player and still be bad. I think people tie casual to bad, but that's not the case. There's probably a lot of casual players who are freaks at the game, but it's just how it goes. Like, this 90% of any game, 90% of people just don't care. They jump on the weekend with their buddies, and they don't watch YouTube videos. They don't look at the patch notes. They just go, oh, I got Battlefield on my PlayStation. I'm just going to open it and click play because I want to play Battlefield. And that's just how most people play games, because not everyone's so addicted and diehard as all of us that, make content and watch content on it. We are we're the 5 to 10% of people that actually do that.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, you're part of the special super Battlefield nerd show club. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think even like hardcore players, not to call Yepper out, but like he was hopping on Warzone 2.0, and they had this thing where like they only had like the 4-player squads? Like they only had the quads that was the default, and you had to like click through to unlock all the other modes. And he's like, man, I really wish there was solo. And you had to go into another level, which is why anytime we tried to play duos, it was really hard. It took us like 5 minutes to find a match every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of that you had to go like a second step.
One. Yeah, that's literally. It makes people sound lazy. It's not even laziness. It's just like
it's UI design
given to you. Yeah, it's given to you. You open the game, and then the first thing you see is like, oh, there's Battle Royale. You see quads and you just don't see the other version. So you go, oh, well, that is the mode. Like, that's it. And you just click it. That's how most people operate. I've noticed that because a lot of the guys that, like my real life mates that aren't really gamers, when we play Warzone together, they are very much bots. Like, they just do not understand games. We have to like explain to them like, no, that's not the main mode, that's just like the first one that you can see. It's just how they're not stupid, they're just very casual. They don't dive into the game like we do. It's something I only learned pretty recently. I always just thought that like if you play games you're a nerd and everyone watches YouTube videos and stuff. That's just not how it is. I think it was around the time of Battlefront 2, I think Ben Walk put this thing on Twitter. Remember when they did those surveys about like, you know, all the stuff that they wanted to see and they wanted to get a bunch of feedback on the game? They put it on the subreddit, which is a big subreddit. I think it was like massive. In the top, like it was massive for a gaming subreddit. And I was thinking like, oh, that's such a big portion of the player base. And Ben Walk explained it that the game has sold like however many, like 20 plus million copies, and there's like a couple 100,000 people in the Reddit. So that ratio of like 20 million to 100,000, I don't even know the percentage. That's like 0.1%. Like that's not much at all. So yeah, that's when I learned that, okay, not everyone's as much of a nerd as me. Like a lot of people just jump on and have a bit of fun, and yeah. We're not all super nerds like us. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if everyone watched YouTube videos, I mean, it'd be great. Exactly. Yeah. If everyone listened to Battlefield podcasts and were like super into the game, like, man, we'd be sad. But like, it's a clear indicator. Like, there's a small percentage of people that will pay attention as hard to be like, oh no, I jump into Battlefield and I press play and then I play Battlefield. There isn't like, oh, I'm going to go to Portal and try to find this one specific mode. No, they're going to be playing Battlefield. They aren't going to go over to see Hazard Zone. They aren't going to do all these things. They're going to press play and go. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And it's something that I think a lot of people, I think even to an extent that developers don't get that. And I think in most games and modes, there's a big enough player base that it doesn't matter. But I feel like places like Australia, and there's like so many places out there with small populations that they don't actually realize the impact that has. Like what I was saying before, I just can't play Breakthrough. Like it's actually, it may as well not exist in the game for me. I cannot play it. So I wish that they would actually take a bit of notice of that and try and focus on. It was actually kind of good how it was, where they were changing the modes every week, and now it's a bit more like they've changed the UI, that it's just everything's there, which I think is a better, for everyone, that's a better design, but it's mostly just a complaint for me because I can't play Breakthrough. Yeah. Justice for Aussies. Yeah. Make Breakthrough playable again. Yeah, I think I hopefully the Game Pass Ultimate and EA Play Edition definitely helps this season.
we're probably going to see the most populated season launch of Battlefield 2042. That probably will rival the launch numbers.
I think it'll be more, to be honest. I really
Oh,
think
yeah?
this is going to be huge. Like, it's just whether they stick around. I think there'll be a big spike, and it's just whether they can keep those people engaged is the only thing. Because, like we've said, there's Warzone, even games like God of War, Pokemon. There's so much stuff out now. I think there'll be way more than, like, I think the game only sold, what was it, like 4 million at the start or something in the first week or something. Which it's not a bad launch, but it's like for Battlefield and for a shooter, that's not, it's not great. I think there'll be more than, there's 25 plus million Game Pass owners.
Yeah.
I think this for a bit will be the biggest game on Game Pass, because whenever they add new ones, and I know Battlefield's had a rough time, but like the name Battlefield still carries a bit of weight to it. Like people will go, oh wow, like Battlefield's on Game Pass, that's so sick. And yeah, especially with Warzone being a little bit buggy, I wonder if people go, oh, like that game, it's not in the best state, let me try this other one for free while I'm waiting. And then just whether they can, I don't think the retention will be great is my only concern, which will still be good. Like if they got, like, this is obviously probably an exaggeration, but if they got 10 million new players and only 5 to 10% stay, that's still a lot of people staying around. Like that's a massive increase in the player base. That's like on Steam, there's like couple thousand concurrent players a day. So if they got 10 million and only kept 500,000, that's 500,000 players. Like that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So even that would still be great. I think there's no way this is a fail, but it's just whether I would love for them to just like get 5 million players and then like 2 million stick around, and it's just like a really populated game. That'd be so much fun, especially like for us as creators too. That'd be great because there'd be a lot of people tuning in and watching. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very like intrigued to see how it goes. I think as creators, we'll get the first glimpse of it because we will see whether our views go up and stuff, and that's always an indication that the game's kind of blowing up. Because whenever other games have like free weekends and stuff, we were talking the other week about Battlefront. When that went free, like everyone's channel just kind of like blew up, kind of thing. So I think creators we're kind of lucky because we get to see it firsthand. So yeah, I'm really interested to see, not just as a creator, but just the fact that I might be able to play Breakthrough again is really exciting.
Well, I mean, a week or two ago, they had Battlefield 1 was on 88% discount on Steam.
Yeah.
And it rose up to they had like 30,000 people playing on it, and had like it was like half of the all-time peak, which was set 11 days ago.
Yeah. It's so pretty mental, isn't it? Like that's what I mean. That's on one. That was just Steam, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just Steam. Yeah.
So imagine that on Game Pass is way bigger than Steam. I'm pretty sure in terms of like, because it's free. Like you still have to buy games on Steam. I guess like Game Pass isn't free, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, even like this Battlefield wasn't free, and it already had the 50,000 people playing at the same like one time.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I mean. I think this has a lot of potential. It's just whether they can get people to stick around is my concern. But like I said, even if they don't, I think enough that law of averages, there will just be some people who stick around. And even if it's 10,000 people, even if 10 million people try it and only 10,000 stick around, that's still 10,000 extra players. Like that's still a win at the end of the day. That's more players than we've had. So got to take wins where we can.
Yes, exactly. I think there's a lot here that we can look forward to with season 3, and I mean, there's a lot of fun content, and it definitely seems like it's pretty well spread out. Obviously, we want more of it, but you can want more of it, but also like be prepared that there won't be any more of
it. Yeah, that's the frustrating part, is that Because imagine all of this hype, and then like they had said we're also ramping up each season. Like we're gonna have 2 maps and we're gonna have 4 guns. Like that, then I'd be like fully hyped for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit hard to get like super hyped, because even just looking at Modern Warfare 2, which to be fair, like the content is much smaller, so I can see why they put more out.
Yeah.
There's already been a map added. There's already another one coming next month. There's 3 guns being added. Like it's been out for 2 weeks, so it's like it's hard to see that in another game and then go to Battlefield where the content is just as good. It's just that it's not as much, and you go like, oh man, I'm gonna play it for a week, and then I kind of have to wait like, you know, another month until I can get something new again, which is that's really the only downside at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much of like, it's an event-based thing. It's not like I'm going to continue being a part of Battlefield just because of Battlefield.
Yeah.
No, it's you're going to be there when there's content, and if there's not content, a lot of players just won't.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm excited, man. It's I'm really looking forward to it. Only 4 days away as we record this. So by the time this episode comes out, 3 days away.
Can't wait.
It's going to be good. But I think with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Battlefield Show. We greatly appreciate all of your support and hanging out with us today to talk about Season 3. Let us know your thoughts and hopes and dreams and expectations around Season 3 and what you're most excited for in the game. Really looking forward to it. I also want to know, have you finished your Battle Pass? I know I have not. But have you gotten it all set up, Sammy?
I have, but I finished ages ago. I haven't played Battlefield in like 3 weeks now, so I was thinking that today. I was like, oh man, I better check. But I played so much at the start of Season 2 that I finished it pretty quickly. So
yeah,
because I was thinking the same. I was like, oh, we're not far away from the season. I don't think I've finished it. So
yeah, I have not, and I don't think I will be, just because of some things that are happening. Like a couple early Thanksgiving celebrations are going to be happening in between, so I won't be able to hop in, sadly, to get enough time at least like to get that. But let us know if you have finished it. Would greatly enjoy hearing that, but really excited. As always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Ethan Clark, for the beautiful thumbnail, and as always, we'll see you on the battlefield.